Hey everybody, welcome back. This is High School Football Central, and I have an interesting video topic today. So, my video is Texas high school football overrated? My answer? Absolutely. Texas high school football is overrated. Now, before you Texas fans and anybody else calling me an idiot and getting mad, you guys are overrated. But you guys are the best football state in America. Yes, you can still be overrated, but be the best. Now, I've heard so many different claims, like saying that Bishop Gorman or De La Salle or Bellevue or St. Thomas Aquinas, that none of those teams could do anything in the Texas football playoffs. That's not completely untrue. You really think Bishop Gorman, a team with over a dozen Division I kids, could not do some work in the Texas football playoffs? That's just uneducated. Texas high school football, their top teams are on the same tier as the top California teams, the top Florida teams, the top Georgia teams. But yes, overall, from top to bottom, Texas is the best football state. But I have heard so many claims, and I remember this topic about 2 years ago. Yeah, no, it's almost 3 years ago now, actually. It was during 4 years ago now. Wow. That's a long time ago. Anyways, so there was this forum that had thousands of, I think it was probably over 20,000 views, or 20,000 people were participating in the forum. And basically it was basically stemmed off of a video of Thomas Tyner. If you don't know who he was, he was the class of 2013. He was the number 2 overall running back in America, and eventually went on to the University of Oregon. He had a game his senior season where he had 640 yards rushing and 10 rushing touchdowns. And a lot of people from Texas were talking about it and saying that this would never have happened in Texas, which is true. This is true. Thomas Tyner would not have put that up that kind of a game in Texas, but still, doesn't mean he's the number 2 running back in the country. Doesn't mean he's going to suck in Texas. Another thing is, then there's a topic that stemmed off of that again, and it said a Oregon high school football team could not beat an average Texas team. And wait, I don't know if I said that right. An Oregon all-star high school football team. So all the best players in the state of Oregon form an all-star team. They could not beat an average Texas team? Yeah, I'm not buying that. So I went on the Max Preps rankings, and it's basically in the middle. I found the average team in Texas, and that was Crossbiting High School. They were a Class 2A Division II team. They went 11-2 in 2015. They were a conference champion, and they ended up losing in the third round of the Class 2A Division II playoffs. That's a pretty good team, but they're basically an average Texas team because they're 2A. Now let's put up the 2014. Let's go 2014. So the 2014 Oregon Class 6A state champion was Central Catholic. They had several Division I kids. They even played number 1 ranked at the time St. John Bosco, and were up 14-7 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Now they did break down and end up losing 42-14, but it was a close game. The score did not show how close the game really was. So they went up against a top 10 team, the third best team in California, and held their own. Let's put this team against Crossbiting. Yeah, a Class 2A team with maybe 30 kids on their team. They're small. These guys are really, really small. Their line would be really small compared to Central Catholic. And so this Central Catholic team from Portland, Oregon had 4 Division I linemen on their team. And the 5th guy was a D2 scholarship guy. So this line was stacked. They had a quarterback who had multiple Division II offers. They had a running back who committed to Stanford, and a bunch of other Division I guys sprinkled throughout the roster. This Cross-Biting team didn't have a single kid go Division I. Now I know Division I, just because you go Division I in high school doesn't mean the Division II kid that you're automatically better than him. But when you have a sprinkled throughout the roster, it's gonna not be pretty. This Central Catholic team would beat Cross-Biting by at least 60 points. Now, would they be the 2A state champions? Of course. Could Central Catholic be the Texas 3A state champions? Definitely. Class 4A? I'd say most likely. It'd be pretty tough. Getting up to 4A in Texas is pretty tough. Now 5A, I don't know if Central Catholic would be the state championship in Texas. They would probably be maybe a state runner-up, semifinalist, but I know they'd be at least in the semifinals in Class 5A. Now Class 6A, Texas Class 6A is probably the toughest playoffs in all of America. 6 playoff games going against Texas schools. I think at the worst, this Central Catholic team would have made it to the quarterfinals. Maybe the semifinals at best, but they would not have made it to the state championship. There's too much bigger teams with more talent. Now let's say an Oregon All-Star game, or an All-Star team where they are 3 and 4 deep with Division I guys at all positions, 2 or 3 positions deep with Division I talent. There's no way this team loses a single game against any team in Texas. Put them up against Allen, who has many Division I kids, and before this year had won 4 straight Texas big school state championships. No, Allen would not stand a chance against this Oregon team. Yes, Allen would have a lot of Division I kids at all their starting positions, basically, but when they get tired and the second and third stringers go in, they're not going to be, there's going to be a huge drop-off. Now, when the Oregon team's backups go in, they're going to be fresh, and they're going to be really good. So, that is one of the stupidest comments I've ever seen, and there's no way that an Oregon all-star high school football team would not be able to beat an average Texas team. There's no way. An Oregon high school football team, Oregon all-star high school football team versus this Cross-Biting school who only made it to the 3rd round in Texas's 2A playoffs, that is a blowout. It's probably going to be over 100-0. Now, let's pit Allen against this Oregon high school football team. It's going to be at least a 4 or 5 touchdown win for this Oregon high school all-star football team. Now I know Texas is way better. Oregon as a whole is nothing compared to Texas. It's not even close. But when you get the best teams, the best players at each position, 2 and 3 deep, the best kicker in the state, the best punter in the state, the best quarterback, best running back, the 10 best offensive linemen, the best receivers, there's no way that this Texas team's going to win. That's just my opinion, guys. No hate on Texas. I love Texas, you know? Texas is huge for the America in high school football. They've got amazing teams, but they're overrated. Overrated, but still the best. That's pretty hard to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of my High School Football Central talk. What do you think about Texas high school football? Do you think that an Oregon all-star team could beat any team in Texas? That's just my opinion that they could. But like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment. High School Football Central here. Have a great day.